Good morning, Cole, it's Friday, and for the first time I think ever, it actually is morning when I said that. I'm filming in the morning today because I want to make sure I get this video out before I have to leave for the Northwestern Forensics Tournament in a few hours. Cole, since you refused to talk about what I told you to talk about in your punishment video, I'm going to talk about it today. That's right, today's video is going to be about the history of the 4th tier English soccer team, AFC Wimbledon. I know, it sounds like a weird topic, but stay with me here. As you may have guessed, AFC Wimbledon has not always been a 4th tier English soccer team. In fact, they used to play in the 1st tier of English soccer, the Premier League. Everything was fine and dandy. They were a good team, playing good teams, they won the FA Cup, things were going well. But then 12 years ago, the owners of AFC Wimbledon decided for some reason that they wanted to move the team out of Wimbledon into Milton Keynes. Then obviously all the fans in Wimbledon were like, dude, what are you doing? We like our football team right where it is. So they tried to appeal to the organization that oversaw all of English football. However, that didn't go so well either because the organization deemed that it was not in the best interest of football to have a team in Wimbledon. So then all the fans in Wimbledon were just like, okay, fine, move the team to Milton Keynes, we'll just root for them from here. Is what a bunch of boring, unengaged football fans would do. But not Wimbledon. They did not sit down and take it. They started their own team out of just a bunch of guys in the city that kinda knew how to play soccer. The community rallied behind them, started giving them money, they were able to build their own small stadium, and they simply just kept building and building and being able to pay for better and better players, and slowly they started moving up through the ranks of amateur football, until finally AFC Wimbledon was right on the edge of being able to play professional football. It came down to one final playoff game that decided whether they got to move up or had to stay in amateur football. The game was tense, and finally at the end of the 90th minute, it was tied. And so they had to go into penalty kicks. Cole, have I ever told you the story of how Seb Brown saved 2 penalties against Luton Town to send AFC Wimbledon into the Football League? 'Cause it happened.
To the Wimbledon fans to give Luton the lead. He scored now, no! It's been denied by Seb. The fairy tale is complete. And the fans club that started less than 9 years ago are into the Football League.
AFC Wimbledon won in penalty kicks, and for the first time in more than a decade, there was professional football being played in Wimbledon. But that's just the beginning of the story. You see, one thing that happens when you start playing professional football in England is that your team begins to be a part of the annual FIFA video game. Now, for those of you who don't know, John Green, who we kind of modeled this channel after, also has another channel where he plays FIFA while talking about random topics. So he had been doing this for a couple of years, playing as Swindon Town, or as he called them, the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers. But then when FIFA 14 came out and he saw this random 4th tier team called AFC Wimbledon that was run by its fans and had a lot of good stuff going on, he decided to switch and started playing as them. And so John Green's semi-professional FIFA playing was switched from the Swindon Town Swoodly Poopers to the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblies. The club is owned by their fans instead of some big corporation or individual. They were the first English soccer team to come out against homophobia. Their narrative is beautiful. John Green just loves everything about them. Of course, when John Green loves something, he starts supporting it, and when John Green starts supporting something, so do 2.5 million people that call ourselves Nerdfighters. And so now every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, John Green films himself playing FIFA 14 as the AFC Wimbledon Wimbly Womblies, and all the advertising revenue goes to the actual AFC Wimbledon team. And so Nerdfighteria began officially sponsoring AFC Wimbledon, even paying enough to get DFTBA Nerdfighteria scrawled across the sidelines of the stadium. The partnership is really weird and unlikely, but also strangely beautiful. And so we'd been supporting AFC Wimbledon for a while, but then back in the fall something very interesting happened. The club had worked itself up so far that now it was in the same league and got to play the team that used to be them, the MK Dons. And because the arc of history is long and bends towards justice, on one fateful night, AFC Wimbledon, the team that started from nothing after having their club stolen from them, beat the club that used to be them. I swear, somebody's gotta make a movie out of this, because the narrative is just beautiful. And the thing is, it's not over yet. AFC Wimbledon has kept getting better. They just were able to play a Premier League team in the FA Cup. Look, if you had told me a year ago that I would be a huge fan of a 4th tier English soccer team, I would have thought you were crazy. But then I too fell in love with AFC Wimbledon after watching the Wimbly Wombly videos. The videos are really great. It may not make sense to you to watch someone playing video games, but he's not just playing video games. He's talking about like real life topics and answering questions from Nerdfighters and a lot of great things. So yes, it's a strange partnership. It's not the most important thing that Nerdfighteria does, but it is a good cause, and good stuff is happening because of it. I would encourage everybody to watch the Wimbly Wombly videos. I'll put a link to the playlist in the doobly-doo. Remember, all the advertising revenue goes straight to AFC Wimbledon. And so that's the story of AFC Wimbledon up to this point. It's not a finished story. There's lots more to happen. And no matter what happens, Nerdfighters will be there right along their side, heck, even on their shorts, reminding them, don't forget to be awesome. Cool. I'll see you on Monday, and best wishes. Educational videos are allowed to be more than 4 minutes long.